Hello. Welcome to the Eddie Conversation podcast. My name is Eddie Vigil, and I am your host. This is episode number 80, and joining me today is Emily Sweet.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Yes.
80. That's impressive.
Yeah, 80.
That's great.
This has been running since October of 2020.
Wow. That's lovely.
So make sure you like and subscribe. Follow the show. All right. 80. It's the race to 100 right now is the current goal.
Okay. During COVID, how did you do that? Through Zoom?
It was still in person.
It was?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, good for you.
Yeah. The whole purpose of the show was I needed an excuse. Like I was dying, not of COVID, but I was dying.
Solitude.
The solitude was. Yeah. I was like, I just need to talk.
Yeah.
And it's not the over the Zoom the screen interactions weren't really fulfilling. So. Yeah, I would, on occasion, would meet one-on-one with people and have a conversation. It was lovely.
Aw.
And now here we are still doing it, everybody. We have Emily Sweet with us.
Number 80.
Yes. All right, let's build a little bit of foundation here on you. You're an actor.
I am? Yes.
Model.
Yes. Technically.
If you go to her Instagram... You mentioned model and not actor on there, so I just want to clarify.
Oh, how? Really?
Yeah.
I think I need to change that.
You should go change that. I was like, why are you pushing? Either way, yeah.
Either way, so okay, yes, I act and I model. I am technically signed with modeling agencies. Lovely. I just feel so silly saying I'm a model because, I'm not Kendall Jenner or any of the Hadids, you know what I mean?
Sure,
so
not many people are,
That's true. So I kind of always feel silly, but I love it. I'm not trying to, I am hoping to still be cast for modeling gigs as well as acting gigs. So
yeah. Your Instagram, I don't know. I like to go it's very curious to see how people describe themselves on. Because this is our chance to who are we to ourselves and who are we trying to put out? And you have. Well, you say I love horror, and then you say model.
That's so funny.
All right.
I do love horror. That's true. But I should put actor model.
I love acting in horror. Okay, yeah. So I guess for context, we have been on set together.
We have.
It's been a bit.
Mm-hmm.
This was right after. Actually, no. I was before we were rolling. I was explaining our history, but I actually got it wrong.
Oh.
I just moved to Los Angeles, and then I went back to my hometown.
Oh, okay.
And then I went back a few months later up to Reno to first AD a feature film that you were the lead actor in.
Yes. Well, me and Andy were co-leads, yeah.
Co-leads.
Yeah, female lead. He was the male lead.
Yeah.
I know, that was back in 2019, wasn't it?
2019, correct.
Wow.
That movie was called?
Desert Shadows.
Desert Shadows.
It's not out yet.
So, yeah, there's a long history with Desert Shadows. I guess, I don't know, hopefully this movie comes out soon. Tyler, I know you're not watching this. This was directed by Tyler Bournes, also from Reno, and I know I was catching up with him recently, and we were joking / he was joking / he wasn't actually crying.
I was
going
to say crying inside?
Dying with this movie is still not out. And it should be out by now, and this is killing. Killing him.
So I'm pretty sure the distributor is Raven Banner, who distributes a ton of horror movies. They're a great distributor for horror. And I follow them on Twitter, and I do a lot of horror acting, and so I have a lot of horror people follow me, and I think it was Aaron, who played the brother in Desert Shadows.
Yes.
Tweeted something to me and to Raven Banner and said, "When's this movie coming out?" And Raven Banner responded with something like, "We have big things for this movie. Stay tuned." And that was a few months ago, so I don't know. No one
Oh,
knows.
big things. Very excited.
No one knows.
That's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I guess I don't know. Since we're on the, should we? This is something I forget to do a lot.
Okay.
Is I focus on, like, oh my gosh, like Desert Shadows was shot in Reno and it was 23 days and these are the actors, and I forget to explain to people what the movie was about.
Yeah. Yes,
So,
yes. Go for it.
I'll try. Okay, I was thinking about it before. I'm like, what? Because I'm like, you were the lead, right? I'm like, oh no, there's a whole other character
Yeah.
that we focus on,
Yeah.
and so it's about a guy who, I guess it opens up. Well, this is, we're not spoiling a movie here. You haven't seen the movie.
I haven't seen it. I have not seen it.
You haven't seen it. I've seen it. You've seen the trailer. I heard you've seen the trailer.
I've seen the trailer, yeah.
It opens up. Two brothers hanging out, they're whatever, they're 30s, 40s. I don't know how old the characters are, but they're hanging out, and one of the brothers gets mad at the other brother, and then they split up. And splitting up is never good in horror movies.
Never. Well, the one brother is an addict.
One brother's an addict.
And I think goes through a bender. And they get mad. They get mad. He goes on a bender, I think.
Something like that.
Something like that.
So
I haven't seen it.
one brother goes missing, and it's unclear on what happened to him, but there's a theory of there's a monster in the desert that took my brother,
Yes.
and I'm going to investigate this.
Yes.
And then we jump forward in time and follow this investigation, this murder investigation, and your character is a student at this university
Yeah.
that works with some scientist guy,
Mitch Pileggi.
Mitch Pileggi. Yeah, and then you're excited for reasons.
Yes, I'm
and-
over the top pumped to go monster hunting to figure
Yeah.
out the mystery.
That's the movie.
That's the movie.
And then it gets a little. Yeah, that was. I
like
don't know what to say
A
about it.
horror drama.
Yeah,
kind
which
of.
I kind of dig.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't get a lot of horror dramas.
What are they normally? Just horror slasher?
Horror comedies, horror slasher. Not really drama. Like, this is a family drama with horror sci-fi elements in it.
Yeah, I dig it.
Yeah.
I dig
More
it.
sci-fi than horror.
There are those little horror elements for sure. I mean, the whole cell is the creature.
Yeah.
That's the whole, and then there's other things that happen.
You'll have to watch and see.
Okay, so regardless of that was a time.
Okay, wait.
Sure.
You've seen the movie. How does the monster look?
Good question. Should I dive in? Okay.
Because it's kind of CGI, but kind of practical, right?
You were not a part of the monster. You were never in a scene with the creature, if I am correct.
I had one scene with a different person who was a creature, but not the creature.
Yes. Right. Yep. Yeah, okay, which makes sense. Okay. So the initial, I don't know, Tyler, you talked about I had Tyler on the podcast a while ago.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So if you want to hear
Cool.
more about some of this, he did talk about it. So I feel
Okay.
free with it's okay for me to relay this information.
Okay,
I'm not
good. Good.
I don't know how it is for most filmmakers these days, but I guess maybe it's an indie space specific thing. Maybe you can attest to this theory.
Okay.
Or okay, there's a thought is when you're making a movie with effects, there is an ideal world where it kind of feels better, maybe as a viewer or even on set from the acting side too, to have a practical thing to be playing off of and to be shooting, because visual effects are expensive. So let's actually build it, and there's some cool elements to that. It's like it feels realer, and you can do some cool stuff with, like, it was supposed to be, they're building up this kind of big suit for like a big guy to wear, and it had like the big arms and whatever, the face thingy that you can move it with and do all that kind of stuff was the idea.
Oh.
was the idea. And then when it came time, as the AD on the project, I don't really have to be in the know on like I'm just like I build the schedule, you
Yeah,
communicate with the
just need to
team,
keep
and
us
it's
on
like,
time.
yeah, keep us on time, and also I expect other departments to be prepping all their stuff to be ready on time
Sure.
too. But I was checking with Tyler every once in a while, and I was like, all right, so the day's coming up. We're like a couple weeks away from shooting the creature. How's it looking? Just general stuff, and he's
Uh-oh.
like, kind of head shake, and it's like it's not looking. They're saying they're still gonna get it. They're still gonna be ready, but it's the stuff they've sent me. It doesn't look ready yet, but they're
Okay.
saying it will be ready on the day. So
That's not what you want to hear.
you just get led down this path, and by the time you get to shooting the creature, you find out whether you have it or not.
Okay.
And we did not have it.
Okay.
So we're going to this cave up in Virginia City near Reno. And that's when filmmaker brain comes in. Is like, all right, well, what's plan B?
Well, I will die on this hill that you should always use practical effects over CGI. I have not seen. I'm taking away from this
Mm-hmm.
movie. I have not seen the monsters. I don't know how they look. I can't comment on how they look. I don't know. If you take a practical effect and then enhance it with CGI, I'm okay with that. Like the movie, I don't know if you've seen the movie Hatching. It's like a Swedish movie or Denmark movie. I don't remember.
Nope.
And it was amazing. It's this horror movie. And there was this bird that was hatched that was all practical and then enhanced with some CGI. I couldn't tell a difference. It looks great. I can't stand. This is part of the reason I might lose a lot of friends here. I'm not a huge Marvel fan,
Okay.
Marvel movie fan, because I can't stand the CGI. I'm immediately taken out. Just it's too much CGI. Like and I understand why they have to do that for Marvel movies. You can't destroy a whole city. Like I get that, but for especially in horror, CGI blood doesn't look that good. You know what I mean? It just I think people should spend the money for practical effects. It always looks better. It always is just, it takes longer and some things don't maybe always go to plan, but I think the outcome is 100% always, always better than CGI.
I think that's yes. Well, I think you had that nice wiggle room there of talking about enhancing practical with visual. If you're going to use visual, at least have some sort of practical element to ground the moment. I guess maybe is the either way you would prefer to see just full practical as much as possible.
As much as possible. I
That's
think
yeah, but
it's,
that takes like you said that does take more time.
it
We don't
does,
have we
and
don't
I
have
think,
time.
I know, but I
I'm
think
just
people,
kidding.
that's true. There's
No,
never enough
no,
time.
yeah.
But I think in this, what do I know? I don't know much, but what I would assume you should do, you as a general sense, who are people who are making movies with practical effects, should plan. People always think, oh, the practical effects won't take long. It's going to take 2 hours to set up. It's the reset time is going to be this. It's going to be fine. No, just take a full day of practical effects. Just like take your time on the practical effects. I know people don't have that luxury probably to do that
In the indie space.
in the indie space, but
But yeah, yeah.
but if you're in
Continue.
pre-pro and you know that you're using practical effects, I think it's really important if you're going to do them well. Because I also feel like in indie movies, the effect doesn't go off right, or the gag doesn't work, or whatever, and then it's like, well, we're out of time. We have to move on. We'll just throw some blood on it.
You've probably witnessed that very. You,
No, I mean, no, no.
Okay,
In my,
great.
no, I don't think. I'm just saying I've heard too many stories about people using, just not planning enough time for their practical effects.
Yeah.
But I'll die on that hill that practical effects all the way over CGI.
Great. No, I had a good thought in there, and I forgot what it was.
Sorry, I was rambled about
No, you're
my
good.
hill I'm dying on.
You're good. I don't know. I know I've been on my fair share of horror indie sets, and okay, I remember what I was gonna say.
Okay, good.
Woo. Yes, as a filmmaker, as a director, I don't. Okay, it's tough. I guess I'm thinking yes, 100%. yeah, plan and then give the time to it. And the thought is like, well, if it's going to take that amount of time, maybe is it, is it more, is the movie going to be better if we do 3 moments of rushed effects, or maybe we boil that down into 1 moment where we take the time to do it right.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, so it's like, all right, we have, on 3 different days we're gonna rush this gag, and it's kind of like the situation that you explained, where it's like, oh, we ran out of time, or we're just gonna blah, blah. Um, so you're getting less of those moments in the movie, but so I guess the trade off is that I guess do that or less of it, but it's done well. Is that because
I
that's kind of the
think
battle when you're talking about time, right?
sure. As a yeah, no,
Or
totally,
maybe less
totally.
time for the actors to say lines on other days. Who knows?
I, well, if they're prepared. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Um, I as a horror movie lover and watcher, that's all I consume. I'm not proud of that. I should expand my viewings.
Have you thought about Marvel? I'm just
No, I don't.
they just okay.
I would prefer to see very good effects over because if they're bad, then I'm just like, oh, that
But are you gonna watch a horror movie that has 3 moments of effects, or do you want it a lot? Like, do you want the family drama with the creature showing up, very rarely, and or do you want like one badass scene with the creature in
well,
it that
okay. So this is also
not that
funny.
this is not Desert
This is
Shadows.
not, yeah, no, I'm not talking about Desert Shadows.
Yeah,
I haven't even seen it. I'm
yeah.
I'm not talking about Desert Shadows. If I am going to watch a movie and the creature is bad, I'd rather not see it because it's scarier in my mind. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think your brain can make things a lot creepier than this all the suspense and buildup of, oh, this, what is this creature? What is this monster? And then you see it and you're like, oh, that was
It's like,
it?
ooh.
Like it kind of takes you out. I don't
Ooh.
know. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I
Uh,
maybe I'm
no,
contradicting myself because I love practical, but I just think you need to take the time. I think people think, okay, wait, another thought. I think you can get away with campier or not as good effects if it's a horror comedy because then you know what you're getting into. You know what you're watching. And I think there's a lot of leeway for some
it kind of
silliness.
reminds me of Malignant a little bit.
I loved Malignant. I loved that movie. The first, 2 acts, I was like, is this a joke? What is
It
this?
was so
I
confusing.
was like, is this
The opening sequence in the hospital was confusing. I'm like,
Yes.
this is a tone.
The whole theater kept like giggling and we were all strangers, but we were just like, what? Like looking at each other, and then that final act.
Brought it home for you.
Amazing.
Great.
I loved
It was yes.
Yeah. So you can
Malignant.
get away with stuff.
Yeah.
You disagree.
No, you can get away. Oh, if it's campy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's
No,
more
for sure.
leeway.
Yes. Oh my word, did they get away with stuff?
Yes, they did.
She turns around and reveal the reveal.
So good.
Do they have little
Amazing.
arms and legs coming off of it too? Was that a thing? Am I remembering
That's
that right?
yeah, but that's a great practical moment.
Jeez, oh yeah, that was intense. I'm like, what is this? I'm scared.
Amazing.
I'm
amazing.
always upset. Did you watch that new movie with the AI doll yet?
Megan sure
Yeah.
did opening night.
I heard I watched a review of it, and the guy was talking about how it's weird in movies when like a machine designed by humans.
Mhm.
Why do humans make them to be stronger than us? Like, shouldn't we?
Well, but I think that's the scary thing about AI is that it just like
It-
learns and you can't really stop it, right? Isn't that like the most terrifying thing
but
about
if
AI?
you place the AI in a body of a cloth doll, that cloth doll will come and like try to attack you, but you can just like, you know, put it down. Like,
Yeah.
but why
I
put it in
think
something that
they
can
ha-
overpower us when we should be able to?
Right. They
So
had in place, I believe in this movie, they had certain stoppers in place but it just Megan became too
Okay, she
smart.
like broke through the firewalls
Yeah.
and
Yes,
opened up new
because
strength
but
enhancements.
isn't that a real thing with AI? That it that like that's the scary thing that people in AI have left AI because they're like it's uncontrollable. We can't control it anymore.
Yeah, it's like we don't know what it's doing, kind of thing. I don't know.
I don't.
I
I
don't
kind of want
know.
to be ignorance is bliss on
So we'll
that one.
see. I
I
guess
don't
the
know.
guy was like, "Hey, real life people, take notes. Please don't put AIs and things that can overpower us. We should be able to fight back."
Yes. Yeah.
But I heard
I
it was pretty good.
yeah, it was Megan
Oh.
wasn't better or worse than I thought. I was very pleased. I go into a lot of horror movies very excited, and then I think I overhype myself, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, it was fine.
Yeah, because it's kind of a Chucky-esque story,
Hmm.
doll
Yes.
and rampage. I'm sure it's just a classic build. I heard, yeah, they take a lot of elements from bits and pieces. I heard there's some interesting stuff in the commentary on children and technology and that kind of stuff. I like that kind of thing. I'm
Yeah,
like, great, that's what I'm going to the movie for.
it was entertaining.
To get back to the creature, to answer your
Oh
initial
yes.
question,
Sorry, I rant.
I would say again, Tyler is a kind of a perfectionist.
Hmm.
So I think the creature. I don't know. I always frame things in the space of, for what we had and what this thing was, and the thing, this wasn't the plan from the beginning, and I thought it came out pretty well. Like,
Great.
the whole, if, yeah,
Good.
it's a classic. Yeah, it's a classic. If you are gonna do CGI, similar to you're kind of saying, show as little as possible to keep my
Hmm.
imagination going. He still played in that same vein where it's like, all right, it's in the dark and it's
Oh, good.
poorly
Okay.
lit and
Yeah.
poorly lit on
Right.
purpose.
Right.
Yeah,
Right. Right. Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm excited.
No,
I can't wait to see it. I want to see it.
hook it up, Tyler. All right, next, I was gonna ask you. We're just talking. I'd be just. You seem like the kind of person that would be in the know about some obscure movie that's coming
Oh,
out.
okay. Tell me.
It was recommended to me. I just got into bouldering. I just joined a bouldering gym here in
Is it
LA.
like rock climbing?
Rock climbing,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
And one of the dudes there was telling me about, once you mention you're a filmmaker, I don't know, people are like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
what have you worked on? I'm like, nothing. Have you heard of Desert Shadows? Um, oh, you haven't yet? You'll hear about it soon. It's called One Cut of the Dead.
Oh, no, I've never heard
It's
of it.
supposedly a $15,000 budget horror movie that's like hit Sundance, or is not. I don't know if Sundance has a horror. I don't know. It's getting some good buzz. And
Okay.
when he mentioned the budget, it's almost like a paranormal-esque movie where it's very like, he didn't really tell me much about it, but I
Okay.
was
It's
just
new then.
yeah,
Okay.
it's like in the circuit currently or something, and he's like, you gotta watch it. I'm like, how do I watch it? I
Yeah.
didn't
How
make
do
a
you watch it?
I didn't make a note of
Oh.
that. I just have it in my list of what to
Oh,
watch.
no. Okay. I haven't.
So One Cut of the Dead, everybody, keep that. I just am a fan of people being creative with no money. And horror is a great space to do that
It is.
because you can hide the thing, like you said. Okay, to get back to you, um, you mentioned that horror watching is your thing.
Hmm.
It's all you watch, and you should
Basically.
expand.
I should.
When has this always been the case? And at what point did you consciously make the decision that you A, wanted to be an actor, B, these were the movies you wanted to act in, or how because I don't know this. I don't how did that all play
Okay.
out, if you don't
I
mind?
don't mind. I have always wanted to be an actor since I was a young child. All I've ever wanted to do. I've never wanted to do anything else to answer that question.
Mhm.
The horror question is interesting because I used to be terrified of horror. I hated it. I didn't even want to see commercials on TV of previews of new upcoming horror movies. I was in the circus. for a brief period of time.
Ooh.
And while I was in the circus, I learned about the classic freak show people, you know. I mean, I didn't obviously meet them back in the when they were around in the 30s, but I learned all about them and just about that, all of it, and it was very interesting and fascinating. And that was the time when American Horror Story came out with Freak Show. And so I felt as if I should watch because I had just learned about all these people. I was in the circus and I just felt like, oh, you know what? I'm going to watch it. And I was so scared. I sat down. Here I am. I'm going to watch it. And after I was like, what? That wasn't even scary. I was so scared of why was I so afraid to watch this? This wasn't scary at all. And I said, well, if this isn't scary, I wonder what else I've been missing out on that I thought was scary that isn't scary. And then I just went down a deep rabbit hole and I have not come up for air since.
And I'm unfamiliar with that specific how I guess I don't know. I don't want to like date you here or anything, but how old were you when you decided to experiment with horror? Like when did you build up that courage to make that watch?
That came out, I think, around 2012. So I don't know how old I was in 2012.
That's great. You don't have to say. No, I'm just curious because I know I was thinking about myself. I didn't like horror. And I still don't like horror.
Oh,
But
Eddie.
I do like I like a good horror. But it's not even.
But there's so much good
All
horror.
right, hold up. I'm just kidding.
I could go on and on and on.
Okay. Please.
Well, no, I just think that I think there's so much to enjoy and appreciate about horror.
What do you get out of it? What moments are you waiting to like when you click in a new one?
Yeah.
What are you hoping to see and what gets you most excited?
Gore. I'm a big gore freak.
Okay, well that's not me.
I love the gore. And here's why. I just think it's fun in horror movies when it's, whatever. But I also think, again, I think practical effects is an art form. I think it's truly an art form to be able to pull off things that look so realistic that make people's stomach turn. That it's an art form to be able to. You probably didn't see Terrifier 2.
No.
Okay.
But that's a recent one
That's
that
a
was
recent
just in
one?
theaters. Yeah.
Yeah,
It
so I thought
did
maybe
very well for an indie.
it
I
did,
saw it on the
yes.
charts, but I didn't.
Yeah.
I knew better
Yes.
for myself.
Well, I thought I said that one because I thought maybe there would be a chance that you would have seen it, but I just think it's incredible, and I like to watch just as a viewer, but then I like to watch with the love of just practical effects. I'm like, oh, I wonder how they did that. How long did that take to pull off? How long did that make to build? It's just fascinating to me, and so I love the gory stuff because it just looks so realistic, and
Okay,
it's just
so you're a
fascinating.
fan. Okay, did you watch? I'm just trying to. I want to get on the same page here
Okay.
with you. Did you watch? You have to. Barbarian.
I loved
Okay,
Barbarian.
I liked it too.
That movie was so much
I
fun.
liked it a lot.
God, that movie was
That's
good.
my style of horror.
Okay,
And
that's
and
great.
it feels like the fun. It feels like the fun horror.
Yeah.
And there was very few moments of gore,
Mm-hmm.
which I appreciated. I'm like, that's not why I come here to watch it.
Mhm.
Like I enjoy some of the anticipation, and that movie specifically had some nice story structure to it that I appreciated with
Yeah.
like the cool act structure of like once they introduced they like
Justin Long's
yeah,
character,
it's like
yeah.
they just changed the movie altogether. I'm like,
I was reading an article about from the director. He was doing an interview. I don't remember what the interview was, but he said it took him, I don't know, years and years and years and years and years to make this movie because every time he brought it to someone, they would go back and be like, "You can't introduce a character 45 minutes in. No, that doesn't work. We're not interested." And everyone just kept telling him, "No, you can't make a movie like this. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't work. You can't introduce a new character this late in the game." And then until finally someone was like, "Yeah, okay, we'll make it. We think that's great. How unique."
and I loved it.
I was so good.
Yeah, I don't know. I would have to explain the movie, but that one was lovely.
Yeah.
You have your weird creature,
Mhm.
your cave dweller creature.
Yes.
And,
Reminded me a lot of the Freak in Castle Freak, to be honest.
okay.
Yes. Um, but yeah, that movie is just very fun. This is why I love horror so much because you can have super fun movies like Malignant, like Barbarian, and then you can have movies that are just very, I don't even know what the correct word is, that just leave you kind of, it lingers, like Midsummer. It just like lingers, or really disturbing movies like a Serbian film or something. You know what I mean? I there's just so much to do with horror. You can do anything with horror. All the subgenres, Christmas horror, paranormal horror. I just There's just so much.
Christmas horror.
That's my favorite subgenre is Christmas
Really?
horror.
Christmas
Yes, I love
horror.
it.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, so you like the gore, and that's yeah. I don't like the gore. I guess I was thinking in Barbarian, the one there wasn't much gore, but they had the classic when the mother creature was saving her child, she took Justin Long's head and did like the eye push, did the push into
Yeah.
the eyes, and then like ripped his head in half or something like that.
Yeah.
I
But
was,
see,
I was like, okay,
yeah.
that's the gore, right?
The thing about gore is that the more you watch it, just the more desensitized you are to it. You know, like I've seen that happen so many times, and
Yeah,
it's just like, wow, how interesting. I don't know, not interesting, but
right, but
how fun.
oh, how fun.
I'm not a sociopath. I'm not a sociopath.
Okay, so all right, so all I was gonna say was I remember as a child, Nickelodeon had the Are You Afraid of the Dark
I was
show,
terrified of that. Yeah.
and I remember my younger brother, 3 years younger, because they had it had it was like an after school show or whatever. You had to like it was for the kids that were out of school, so all the childhood programming played until a certain point, and then kids are out, so they upped it a little bit, and they had the little Y7 rating on it. And I would tease my brother. I'm like, "You're not old enough to watch this." And I was like 8, and he was 5 or whatever. But then just the empty swings playing in the opening of it, I'd be too scared to watch it too.
That show was pretty scary as a young child.
So I
That
can't,
opening.
I can't do it. I
Yeah.
can't do it. So
Yeah.
either way, if I were to do horror, it'd be in the vein of like the Barbarian with that's nice horror.
That movie just touched on so many different topics, though. I loved it.
What other takeaways do you have from that?
Oh, just about how men can get away with basically anything, right? So
Like they're the opening 45 minutes?
the opening, no, all of it. So
Okay.
even as far as okay, yeah. So this girl comes and oh, some guy already has their B&B that she booked. If that was like if that was reversed, a guy probably wouldn't have as much like cautiousness to come into the house. You know what I mean? Whereas this woman was like, "Oh God, okay, do I come into this strange place I've never been with this man who I don't know?"
Yeah, and they touch on that in the movie
They
too.
do. Even when she's going down those, into the basement area and she's very trepidatious or whatever. But then Justin Long goes down there and he's like, I gotta measure all this stuff, this and that, blah, 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 blah. No big deal. I'm not scared. I remember whatever, blah, blah, blah. Just, no, and his character is whatever.
He's a character.
The
I mean that was so lovely. That was a lovely contrast.
Yeah.
Whether it is for multiple reasons. I know utilizing the same set with different tones is fun too. But
Yeah. The dad in the basement.
Yeah, for sure.
What he got away with for all those years.
Mhm.
Like that. There's just, it touches on incest. The effects
Yep. Mm-hmm.
of that.
Mm-hmm. And then also Justin Long's
Motherhood.
character with the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That was. Yeah.
For a minute there, I thought, and this was perfect casting because first of all, I just love Justin Long horror movies. He's been in so many amazing horror
Oh, has
movies.
he?
Oh, yes,
I
yes,
didn't
yes.
know that.
So many. They're all great. But you just love him so much that you don't think I don't want to spoil, but you just think like, oh, what a good Justin Long. So when that happened, his whole ordeal. I don't want to give anything
I don't know. We
away.
can
I don't
spoil.
know.
Whatever.
Okay,
It's fine.
his whole like, oh, I whatever he did to this woman, sexually assaulted this woman or whatever. I thought, he didn't do it. No, he did not. No. And then he did.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You find that out through his conversation with his
With his
with his
friend,
dude
yeah,
at
at the
He's
bar.
like, bro, just be real with me. What really went down? He's like, well, I mean, but did she say yes or did she? Well, she didn't.
Eventually, or something. I
I'm a
convinced her.
persistent
Yeah.
dude, and she was
Right.
really into it, but all that kind of.
Don't do that, anyone.
Um, yeah. Did you see it multiple times?
I didn't. I saw it once. I was in Denver visiting my sister and my brother in law, and I wanted to see it in theaters. And so my sister and brother in law had a kid about 15 months ago. So it's just hard for them to get out. We all can't go see it. And so my sister isn't a huge horror movie person. And my brother in law was like, I'll go. I'll go with you. Sure, why not? And he went into it very blind, had no idea what the movie was even about. And so I only was able to really see it once
Yeah,
just
that's
because
fine.
I was with family.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
really good the second time too.
I bet.
Knowing. Yeah, I was like, oh, seeing Justin's character, knowing the thing and stuff. I was like, oh, it's all there.
Yeah.
It's all there. It was lovely.
Such a good movie.
Okay, now so your acting journey.
Yes.
So you're starting to watch this stuff, and you're like, oh my gosh, I found the new world, and you're still diving down and living in that space. What? How did the? So you said the dream was always to act.
hmm
When did you? How did? How did you go about? Because I mean, thinking about actors getting their start and getting on any movie at all, and trying to have any sort of control on where you end up seems like trying to get cast at all is a difficult process, and then trying to get cast and even trying to narrow it down to a genre.
hmm
Like how did you go about, or how did it work, and or even how do you all
Yeah.
whatever.
So yes, still to this day, people I have friends or family who are just like, why don't you just do a romantic comedy or something? And I'm like, I would if I was offered the role. I'm not turning anything down. I'm not saying no, only horror, right? Because I'm not at that level where I can really pick and choose
Sure,
what I want to do.
Yeah.
So I've just been very fortunate that I keep getting horror roles. So it started, I don't know, maybe I think Fear Farm was maybe my first like horror movie.
What about like shorts and stuff? Okay, yeah, sorry.
Shorts. I made me and a dear friend Cameron made a horror short, Hold Your Breath, in 2017, I think. And it's won some awards, did okay, did well. We made a second one that's not out yet. And another like horror short. But I haven't I did one short when I first started out, and I had no reel, and I was like, shoot, I need a reel, I need something. I um submitted to a student film. Here, okay, I'm just gonna do a side little thing. For anyone who wants to get started in acting, maybe you have a different opinion or
No, please,
approach.
please.
But people are always ask, oh, how did you do it? How did you do it? How can you? I want to do it. Blah blah blah. I think student films are great because they have all the equipment, the newest, latest, greatest equipment that they're learning on. So even if the story itself is not good, which some student films aren't that great, but that's okay, whatever. You can still take your scenes from that short and put it onto your demo reel, and you have a professional looking reel. People I think always rag on student films. I'm like, no, if you are just starting out and you need a reel, like do those, do them, do as many of those as you can. Anyway, so I had only done one short, and that was it, called New World. And I loved it. I loved New World. I think it was great.
And it was horror?
No, it was
Okay.
kind of sci-fi. It was about these people who could go into a video game. And so this one woman it was me, got into a terrible accident and I couldn't walk anymore. And so I went into this game to kind of escape that because I could still walk and run or whatever. And I met this guy who worked in the game. He was just a worker and he was going through things in his life and we would just meet in the game and like connect and like talk about our struggles in our life and all of that.
Nice.
Yeah. So anyway, sorry, sidetracked, but I don't know. I feel like that's a great way to get a reel if you don't have one.
Yeah, and that's a good start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So bring me back. Sorry.
Okay, so we're trying to find our way to you going from that to
Yeah.
making your way to the
Yes.
horror space, the horror
Yeah.
genre. So
I just happened.
bridging that.
Yes. Luck. Just luck. I had, auditioned for or submitted to so many things, horror, not horror. Just honestly, I just wanted to work, right? I didn't
Mhm,
care what it was.
mhm.
I wanted to work. I was cast in Fear Farm, which was one of the best experiences of my entire life on a set, in life in general. That movie is so near and dear to me. And I was able to get some footage early, which then I could send out, to whatever, blah, blah, blah. And, um, gosh, I think maybe the next horror I did was Desert Shadows. Maybe,
Really?
maybe there was one. I don't know. They blend.
Sure,
I
sure.
don't,
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know. But then I was cast in the reimagining of Castle Freak, and from Castle Freak, I met a lot of great, amazing people. So many lovely people. I got to work with Fangoria, which is, one of the biggest horror magazines in the whole wide world since the 70s. I met Barbara Crampton, who is an icon in just her own right and her own self. And from there, met different producers. Some of the producers on Castle Freak are the producers of Joe Bob Briggs at the Drive-In, a show on Shudder.
Mm-hmm.
And so then they asked me to be in some of their movies, just word of mouth, and which was horror, and then horror and horror and horror and horror. And so I've just been very lucky to kind of get into that little side of horror.
Sounds wonderful.
It is wonderful.
Sounds lovely. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. And I gotta assume, this doesn't, I guess it works with comedy too. I know it's kind of, is that, the answer I feel is obviously yes. But the question is, experience in horror that gives confidence in people bringing you on, knowing that it's like, all right, you've been a part of horror, so work in my horror now, and it's like it makes that casting easier because
Maybe it's funny because I don't have a horror reel because anyone can scream and run. Like there's not a lot of dialogue, I guess, that really showcases the moments of horror. Does that make sense? Like, if I cut together all of my horror movies, it would mainly be me crying, screaming, dying, not like acting, having a serious conversation, whatever.
Right.
And so a lot of people don't want to see that. Like, I don't want to watch you scream for,
It'd be
a
some
minute.
sort of like low angle shot of like blood splurting into your face
No.
as you're doing something.
Not with mine, but yes, probably a lot. So I think I always try to, and this seems so obvious and it seems very simple, but it's surprising how many people don't do this. I show up on time, I'm completely off book, and I don't complain.
That's helpful.
Yes.
That's helpful.
And so I think that is helpful when, oh, we're looking to cast someone. Oh, Emily, she's a great actor, but she's also very easy to work with.
Yeah, but there's also I know, let's say when I'm putting my own I don't know. Let's just say like we're trying to make a Hallmark Christmas movie, right? And there's more confidence in Hallmark buying the movie if they're like, oh, this other actor that's in another Hallmark Christmas movie is in it. So now,
sure. Okay. I see
yeah,
what you're
now
saying.
that fits the brand, and we know that it's going to have the same vibes because the same face is in there.
Mm-hmm.
Even though a Hallmark Christmas movie doesn't take anything specific either. You're like, oh, you just I
I
don't
see what you're
yeah.
saying. Yeah.
So being that even that your face is associated with the genre is helpful to be like, all right, yeah, even if the contents of it. That's I guess that's my producery thought on it
Sure.
is either way.
I'll take it.
Yeah, because I guess like comedy, yeah, I was thinking comedy is yeah. If you're funny,
Yeah.
that
Sure.
will bring you into another comedy, which
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
sure. Yeah. And again, I'm happy to. People are like, don't pigeonhole yourself into horror because
But
then
you
you
love
won't be cast
horror.
in anything else.
But you love
But
horror.
I love horror. But I also would like to do a romantic comedy one. Sure.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
I did actually do a. This isn't out yet. I think it comes out this year. I did this. Maybe you could call it slapstick comedy with Paula Abdul and Eddie Griffin, where I played the villain, and that was well, it was super fun. But the hardest thing I've probably ever had to do because I haven't done a comedy before, and I didn't want to show up and have them be like, what is she doing that's not funny? Like, why is she doing that? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was so out of my wheelhouse.
Well,
Very,
slapstick is very specific too. That
yes.
sounds difficult.
Yeah, but it was super fun. We'll see. I haven't seen it. It isn't out yet. I think it comes out this year.
Nice.
So I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see. Yeah. I was going somewhere with that and I lost my train of thought.
I don't know.
Move on. I don't know.
Moving on. What? All right. Okay, you kind of answered this question. Well, I won't do that. Um, let's talk a little process, if we may. This isn't. This is going to be a general question, but I guess maybe I'm thinking about it because I just got done uh pre-Christmas on a feature I think I brought up a little bit, but what's your let's talk about rehearsals
Okay.
or prep.
Sure.
Um,
I want to know what you do as a director
sure.
for yourself to prep and then what you do with your actors to prep.
Okay. You first.
Okay.
For sure. Yeah. So I guess what let's just say I'm directing a movie
Mhm.
and I cast you and it's like, all right, well, let's just say there's budget for some sort of in-person, or I guess is the ideal situation like do you I don't know if you have a theater background or
I
like
do.
if you enjoy, like, do you want to work through stuff with the cast and all the group, or do you have your own solo process that actually gets you more comfortable, or how do you go about it?
So I'm willing to do whatever the director or scene partners want to do. I'm very open to all of that. Um, I did a movie last year in Serbia on film, and so the takes were limited. And so the director of that really wanted me and the other lead, the male lead who played my significant other, my boyfriend, to go through these scenes. We had so many rehearsals for them. So when we were there, we knew what we wanted, this and that, which was helpful for sure. Some things still changed, which they always do. And I think this is not a good thing, and I need to work on this. I can't until someone I am there and someone says action, it doesn't like fall into place 100% for me. I can rehearse it 100 times, but it's still there is some kind of wall that I have that I can't break down until I am there on the day and someone says that the action, and then so it's hard.
Yeah, your wall is kind of up until it's go time. You're like, all
Yeah.
right, this is now it's real.
Yes.
But
So
you kind of see, I don't know, is it like you kind of so you don't know if you're
think
saving it, but or
I'm not. I maybe I'm saving it. I think subconsciously, I think there's a complex of, oh God, they're gonna regret They're casting me. Oh God, I don't know. I need to not give it. I just need to save it all because if I give it my all and they think I'm terrible, then oh God, what are they gonna
Yeah,
do?
yeah. There's nothing else left. So
Right.
that was my best.
Which isn't good. Like
I'm
that's not a good. I'm not proud of that. That's not a good way to go
sure,
about things. Um,
but it's understandable. Yeah. If you think that might be a part of it, or
I think I don't really know,
still trying to. Yeah.
but I also haven't been on sets a lot where we rehearse a lot. A lot of it is okay on the day. Here's you're gonna go there, then we're gonna go there. Here's all the stuff. We'll do oh my gosh, my brain.
Walking.
No, when the camera is also doing it, but you're
Camera rehearsal.
thank you. Oh my God. Wow, my brain. Yes, thank you. And still again, so on Fear Farm, Dante Yor was the director of that, writer of that, and he knew after I don't know 3 takes to have me go last because it took me all the other angles of everyone else first until I finally like got it. Do you know what I
Oh.
mean?
Ooh.
Because knowing it's again you can rehearse how you want to on your own, but when you are with other people they could do it completely different than how you wanted to do it, and so then
Yeah.
you're like, oh well, then I'm going to react this way. And so he was like, oh, I see what you're doing, you need to go last because you're going to work out all your kinks and then you're going to be good to go. I've had some directors want me to write a backstory of the character and this and that, which happy to do, but I never use it. Like it doesn't help me at all to think about my backstory while I'm then acting in the scene. But I'm happy to do it. I'm happy to do
it's
whatever someone wants me
sure.
to do.
Okay.
Sure, why not?
Interesting.
Hmm.
So it's almost more. It's for the director. It's like I want confidence in my actor because you turn that back into them, right?
Hmm.
Or they don't look at it. It's
No,
just like
they
okay.
this
It's
one
like all right.
wanted to see it.
It's like okay, Emily, write the backstory. This is a test. Let me see what you got. And then it's like here's what actually is the backstory. You were way off.
Yeah, way off.
I want to make sure I see this in your eyes when you perform this next scene.
Yeah. I like a director to I think it's more in this I'm not proud of this either, but I've had directors who don't say anything. Cut. Yeah, okay, we'll do it again. Because I was not good, because you want something different, because you want then I get in my head, right? I like a director who is very communicative. Hey, that was great. Love that. We're going to try it this way because of whatever reason. I just like directness. I like to be told directness from the director.
There you go. Yeah, who would have thunk?
Right. And I have some people explain, "Oh, well, I don't say anything because it was great and I don't need to correct anything. We just needed it again." Like, "Oh, but I want to know that because actors are very
Well, that doesn't make any sense either. It's like it was great, but we needed to do it again. It doesn't make any sense.
well, just a different camera angle or something on their end,
It's a
out
camera
of focus.
thing.
Yeah. But they're
Yeah.
like, "Then tell me that so I know."
Yeah.
But it's also my job as an actor to be confident in what I'm bringing to the table. So I understand why they don't as well. Do you know what I mean?
I hear you. But I also I don't know. It should be there should be a in the directing 101 course that directors take before, it's like when you sign on to direct a movie, there's like a little slideshow you have to watch. Kind
Oh,
of
yeah.
like, there should be a thing. It's like when you say cut, this is the order of operations before talking to your DP, acknowledge the actors, make sure blah blah blah. Like there should be I feel like there's a preferred order that is helpful for everybody because everybody wants the attention after you say cut, and it's about who needs it first, and it's
Well, I don't need it first.
yes you do.
No, I just need to know.
No, I'm saying I that's my take on. I think that's
Okay.
the safest way to go is say
Okay.
cut, confirm with the cast is like okay this is, and then everybody else can kind of wait. It's like I want to come in, talk to you guys.
Uh-huh.
Loved it, beautiful. Okay, maybe step in him a little bit more and save that link, give a little longer beat after you say this before you do this, and little tweaks like that, and
Yeah.
more emotion, and then and then you walk away and tell them to check in with DP, and they're like, all right,
Yeah.
or they have the little. I don't know. Every director has their own process, but it's
That's
like,
yes, that's the thing. I think I've learned now. So for a process, I try not to get too one way because every director is so different. How they direct is so different. What they want from you is so different. And so I try to come in, obviously I audition, they like the audition, so I have some sense of how they want me to do things. We have a couple of conversations, that's great. If they want to do a kind of rehearsal or if I can ask whatever, great. But I just try to be very open and very flexible and have a couple of different ideas, ways, this, that, and then go from there because everyone is just so different.
yeah, I guess I hear more often from actors that I rarely hear from actors. I really appreciate when the director says nothing to me and moves on. Like that's not really.
No.
It's usually just say something. Just say anything. Just please
That I agree
say
with.
something.
Something.
Even if it's like I don't think we got it, but we gotta move on for time. So I don't know. Whatever. Explain the situation. I don't think that's very
Mhm.
helpful. I don't know. That's probably maybe not a thing
I
to say.
mean,
You lie to your actor at that point. I don't know.
yeah.
But don't be too.
Actors are
We're,
so touchy. So moody.
so actors. Am I right?
What do you do when you cast people? Do you have lots of rehearsals? Do you just go, no, we liked your audition, you get it. More of that.
So whenever I direct, I've never quite. I feel like the most prep that I've really had is even just reading through scenes with actors. It's not like a full, and it was over like Zoom and stuff. I've
Mm.
never had a proper rehearsal schedule for a thing, but even just getting on a scene, getting on and talking about stuff, I enjoy the pre-production conversations. But I don't know. The reason why I like to ask too is because I've been trying to correct this, but there's a little bit of taking not like taking a little bit of taking for granted that an actor is going to show up prepared
Mm.
and not even thinking about the process they have to go through. It's like, oh, I know Emily's going to show up and ready to go, and we're going to get to work. But it is good to keep in mind that that took work in what I can do to help with that process. And I usually think it's conversation, just talking through vision and
Yeah.
throwing tidbits in early. So that way, when you go into your own prep, you have my thoughts in mind with your thoughts, and it kind of
Yeah.
helps gel like that.
Yeah.
And then on the day, yeah, there's a lot of trust in the actors. It's build a little foundation for this. Like you were saying, it's like, all right, start here. Okay, this is kind of I imagine this, but I also would like to add some more dynamicness. Jeez Louise. I want more motion in this scene.
Uh-huh.
So let's like I hate my DP pushed me early that we've been working together for a while now, but he's always like let's whenever possible if you can have the actors moving around versus just all right, land on this mark and go through the 2 pages of dialogue and that's the scene. Like it'd be nice to find excuses for the motion. So it's
Yeah.
like, all right, I imagine that you're here and here, and maybe go to maybe go here, maybe go here. Try this. What do you feel? Let's build this together, kind of stuff. Does that answer any question? I don't know. I
Yeah.
feel like there's.
Yeah. I just have never worked with you in that aspect before, and so I'm just curious about how you do it.
Yeah, I think that's how I do it. Yeah, and I try to have be in that balance of suggestion, but also what's that weird balance? So I want to have that collaboration. Like I hate when as a script supervisor, as a first AD, watching other directors do the thing where it's like where they come up with a shot with, I don't know, it's tough. It's like, oh, we want this specific look, and we're gonna frame it like this. You're gonna stand here, and you're gonna stand here, and just do that and do the scene, and there's no conversation on. Like I can, like it even be voiced. Like it doesn't make sense. Why am I just standing? I feel like I should be doing this. Like no, just how about you just do the thing, or like choosing the blocking based off of a shot. Like I'm normally of the. There's the classic. It's the block light shoot model, where you block the scene. You decide how you're going to shoot it based off the decisions that are made with the cast, not the other way around where you design the shot
Yeah.
block within the shot you've chosen. Like it's kind of backwards.
Yeah.
There's that. I don't know. That's me.
See, I don't know much about that. I'm just like, yeah, okay, just don't tell me what you want me to do. I'll do it. Okay, you want me to go? All right.
All right, I got it. I can do that. Easy peasy. Yeah. I as collaborative as possible, please.
That is nice.
That's nice.
That's nice.
Let's talk a little bit. I don't know. Maybe this will segue us out of. Okay. I don't know. I was gonna. Kind of.
Huh?
Horror.
Yes.
Just for this feels like almost a nothing topic, but I kind of want your opinion on it anyway.
Okay.
When you go to see a horror movie in theaters, it's accompanied by a lot of trailers for horror movies.
Yes.
How do you feel about horror trailers? Like when you are, I feel like horror trailers have a specific structure to them, and these, I just hate how loud they get. As I guess it's like, and it's not even it's okay. I just seen a bunch of horror trailers back to back is one of the things that keeps me from going to see horror movies. I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna show up late because I don't want to see all these horror trailers
The
because
trailers
they're
are
so
my favorite
they're so
part.
loud in the theater. All right, but yeah, I don't. Do you have any opinions on horror trailers? Do
I
you?
think sometimes they're cut extraordinarily well, and other times not great. And will show every jump scare, every scare, and then that is it. And there is nothing left in the horror movie that you don't already know.
Do you have an example of a good one off the top of your head? Did you like Smile?
I loved Smile. I liked Smile a lot. Then I thought it kind of went, what? And then the ending really saved
What
it for
about
me
the
again.
trailer?
I loved the trailer.
What about the head?
Yeah. That's great because that was only one out of. I wasn't expecting that, right? That's the thing. A lot of.
It looked wonky to me, but
Well,
either way,
I think it was very jarring. I just wasn't expecting that, right?
yeah.
You can always kind of expect something in a horror movie trailer or just a movie. It's like, okay, we're trained to know that something's gonna happen here, but I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. Oh gosh, I don't know off the top of my head like a really, really good one, but one of my favorite movies of all time. This is billed as a horror, but it's not really a horror.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Come to Daddy. Aunt Timpson did it. Elijah Wood's in it. A bunch of other people are in it. It is phenomenal. The I can't say anything because it's so good. I don't want to give anything away. The trailer, I was like, what? Okay, I'm in. And then the movie was it.
Yes.
It sets you up to think something.
That's great.
Old bait and switch.
So okay, so the trailer actually assisted in the
just the shock of the movie.
and the trailer helped set that up, or it didn't.
The trailer was very misleading in
That's
a good
great.
way.
That's great.
Yeah, in a good way.
Cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah,
That's
just
preferable.
yes.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Probably.
It's
That's risky. It's kind of risky,
the
but
same
that's
with Barbarian though.
yeah. I'm
Like-
trying to pull the rug away from the camera there.
Oh, sorry.
Uh-huh.
Sorry.
No.
Yeah, Barbarian's trailer led you to believe something that it wasn't. Those are good trailers.
Yeah, you can't even catch Justin Long in the trailer. It's like blink and you miss him. Like,
Okay, so here's a question.
Sure.
Okay, what are your thoughts on this? About the whole Ana de Armas suing thing because she was in a movie in the trailer, but then in the movie she was like not in it. They cut her out, but they still put her in the trailer. And
Oh.
so these big Ana de Armas fans sued the company because they're like, we went to go see this movie because of her and she wasn't even in it. So how misleading do you think a trailer can be before it's like,
No, that sounds right to me. I know I heard some industry folk talking about some almost a similar situation with oh my word. How do jeez.
I couldn't remember
You
camera rehearsal,
Jeez
so it's
Louise.
okay.
Euphoria actress. Huge
Zendaya?
Zendaya, yeah. For Dune.
Oh,
Because
I didn't see Dune.
she's a huge part of the campaign and she's only in the movie for like 7 minutes. So it's like a 2 hour, 2.5 hour, 3 hour movie, and she's like heavily featured in the thing, but she's just like visions throughout the whole movie, and then you just see her at the end for like 5 minutes. So
Oh,
it's like, oh,
wow.
you, so it's almost on that line of
Yeah.
I came to see Zendaya, but yeah, no, that's a little.
So
That's,
how misleading can you be? Because Barbarian, very misleading, but in a good way. So do you think that if it's
well, they set it the first act was set up in the trailer. They just didn't go past that really.
that's true.
So I think that one's fine
Okay.
because they set up the whole her arriving to the Airbnb
Yeah.
in that situation. You kind of just think that's the movie,
Hmm.
but then there's
But it's
more,
funny because
which is
some
great.
people might think, "Oh, I don't care about a movie about a guy and a girl in an Airbnb." Okay, and the guy is gonna take advantage of. And you probably lose a lot of people because they think it's going to be one thing and then it's something else. So how do you
There is another statistic. I don't know if you're familiar.
tell me?
I don't know about. It's not misleading, but it's or I don't know if it's yeah. The more you show in a trailer, the more money the movie makes.
Really? The more you show.
So people complain about don't spoil my like let's just say Marvel for instance. I know you're a big fan. So
Huge.
when those are highly anticipated movies and people are picking apart everything that shows up in the trailer and then people get upset when you show too much and then the fan base is like, "Oh, I didn't want oh, it would have been great if I didn't know that, that all the three Spider-Men weren't in this movie. Like I didn't want why did you show them?" And luckily they didn't either way. It's like don't spoil the good stuff. But then if you do spoil the good stuff, more people actually turn out to the movie.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. People want to know what they're.
It's like
People don't know what they want.
I guess it's like when a little kid snoops on Christmas morning, or snoops for the presents because they want to know what they get. But then on Christmas morning, they're like, "Oh, I already know."
because I know
Not like that at
that's
all.
not.
Never mind.
That's called pirating a movie. I think that's what that's called. Um, Something like that. Well, because let's just say for me, I directed a movie. It's currently submitted to some festivals and stuff.
Congratulations.
Yeah, we'll see.
That's
Thank you,
exciting.
thank you. That's very cool. It's very cool. And I had somebody cut a trailer for it. I haven't put the trailer out yet, but some. It's always hard getting feedback on edits. It's just the worst. I hate it. Uh, but
'Cause
especially
everyone has an opinion,
everybody has it.
so you just gotta take the same opinions
It's
and throw out the other
about my
ones.
opinion,
It
okay? I'm the
is. It
director.
truly. Yes.
But these are people that are a part of the team that help make it, and they're also really invested in it.
Hmm.
And they'll say like, I'm bad at pitching the movie too, but it's similar to like your critique on like who wants to watch a movie about a couple or like two people in an Airbnb. It's much more interesting. It's much more interesting of a movie than what you're pitching it out to be.
Hmm.
So a lot of people might not show up because they think, oh,
Right.
that's something I can watch on streaming, or it's not.
Yeah.
So like I directed a movie where a couple goes to a small town for like an ultimatum style weekend. It's like, are we gonna be together at the end of this, or are we moving in with each other and elevating the relationship? And I kind of lean into I kind of pitch it that way to people, and it's like, well, the town is also kind of weird, and there's like some weird like time stuff that goes on where it's like
Cool.
like the whole like living in the moment theme of if they're not living in the moment, sometimes they like moments skip. It's like if you get
Cool.
stuck
Yeah.
in
Okay.
the past or the future, you're just like literally missing out on the current moment. There's like little things like that, and it does get weird with like a some little culty vibes where they get one of the characters gets swept up into this whole narrative of trying to get pulled into this cult, and then the guy has this whole forest thing where he faces off with like a this woodland demon creature in the forest. But like, so it gets
Wow, that's a lot more than a couple goes for an ultimatum
so
weekend.
but I also want that stuff to come as like, oh,
Yes.
I didn't know this is where I was headed, and I didn't know that this whole forest sequence was gonna go that direction
Yeah.
and whatnot. So like when you cut the trailer, it leans into the couple,
Yeah.
and it kind of has showcases some vibe and some tone,
Mm-hmm.
and you're like, something's off here, and you're a little unsettled, but you don't see anything, and we don't show the creature in the woods, and we don't show the fire and the culty hang, and it's like, well, so they're like, hey, can you put that shot of the creature, maybe just like a little flash of the thing and like a little obscure image of it, and I'm like, well, that's kind of like that's a nice. Can we just
Yeah.
But I don't know.
That's tough.
So
That
it's
stuff
not.
is tough.
Yeah, it's tough. That's different than misleading, but it's also like underleading.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I just show up and I act.
Well,
I don't know.
well, rumor has it you've also produced some stuff too, though. So, or
Yeah.
but
I mean, yes. Sure.
so, but yeah, some just that's not undersell. But yeah, I understand. I understand what you're saying. Is you're like I don't. It's not my thing. Any. Good luck.
Yeah, yeah.
Good
Good
luck.
to know all areas of what goes into making a movie, but my favorite is acting.
Well, for sure, for sure. Okay. Well, I'm trying to think of what else. I'm very curious. Because it's a new year,
Yes.
2023. I'll start with a general question. How are you feeling about how do you transition into a new year? Are you big on the taking stock of like I know I've had friends that like they're like, "Oh, 2022 is kind of like a nothing burger for me. I wish more got done and this didn't really happen." And it's like, okay, cool. Like it's hard to not summarize like what happened in that year, but do you do any of that in movement, or how do you blah 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 blah
Yeah.
blah?
I start off every year professionally or personally or both.
Both.
Okay. Yeah, so I start off every year professionally with newfound hope and dedication and encouragement. Have meetings with my agent and my manager and kind of
Nice.
set up a plan for the year and what I want to accomplish, what we want to accomplish, what their goals are, my goals are, whatever. Okay, fine. And then I have professional goals outside of acting that I like want to, that I just set up goals, I think, for professional, personal, and then in between that kind of overlap. And I try to hang on to that excitement.
Keyword try. Are you implying that it's difficult to hold on for the whole year?
It gets everyone in the industry knows this. I think especially probably actors. Post COVID, it has just sucked. There is no work. Not a lot. There's work, but maybe work that some people don't want to be a part of, maybe work some people do want to be a part of, just depending on what you're into, what you want to do. I'm not knocking any of it. But I to be very frank, I was very discouraged this year. And so
This year, or are you talking about last year?
2023, sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. 2022. My God. What year is it? 2022. It was a little discouraging. And it's hard in the industry. It's so volatile. It's so up and down. And we all know this. Everyone knows this. And this past year, it just felt a little harder to hang in when the lows were very low. So I again, new year, I always try to come with a new hope.
Yeah, the bootstraps come up.
Yep.
Tighten those.
This year's the year. I've been saying that for like 8 years.
Oh my word.
No, and I shouldn't say that. I've had a lot of wonderful successes, in throughout even last year. I did I did a few things. It was great. VHS 99. I finished Savage Midlife, the movie with Paul Abdul and Eddie Griffin. I did the movie in Serbia that, Eight Eyes, that comes out this year. So I don't want to, I'm not knocking anything. Great things have happened, but it feels very few and far between.
Yeah, I was gonna say that same term. That was just going through my brain.
Yes.
Few and far, because when you sum it up, you're like, oh, I did do stuff, but those are stretches of, I don't know, weeks worth of time versus a year's long. And
I VHS. I mean, they're segments, right? It's an anthology. I don't know if you're probably not VHS because you don't like horror movies.
I've probably crossed my screen at a point and
Sure.
I promptly looked away.
Sure. So, all the VHS are just segments on a VHS tape. They're anthologies. And so I didn't work for a month. I worked for 3 days or something. You know what I mean? 2 days,
that
something
makes
like
sense.
that. So thankful. I loved it. I loved the VHS franchise. I was beyond to be a part of it. But yeah, it's just like few and far between. It just feels like, especially when you want to be working so desperately, like you want to work, and you as in a general sense, like I feel like we all just are so hungry to work. We want to work. Just please give us work. And you try and you audition and you try and it's just like, last year I felt it, I think, for really the first time of just like,
Okay.
wow, this is
a grind and I'm dying.
This is hard. I mean, of course it's hard. It's always hard, but it just felt like I had more weights weighing me down than in the past years. But you can't. I really try to make an effort to not bring that into a new year. It's a new year. New things, new projects are always happening. Who knows who I will meet? Who knows what connections will be made? Who knows what someone will see? A movie I did, 3 years ago. Maybe someone will watch Desert Shadows this year and be like, you know what? I want to cast her.
Yeah.
So, try just to stay as positive as I can. That's the only way to do it, is just hang on to the tenacity and the positivity and move forward. It sounds cheesy, but that's like the only way to do it.
Sounds great. I know. What did I see? I saw, it was like an Instagram, one of those,
Reels?
you have those
stories?
squares and then it has a quote on it. It's like the 7
The
tips
meme?
of whatever.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
know.
Oh, sure.
I forgot who it was targeting, but one of the slides was, don't tell yourself this is the year. Was one of the things on
I am
it.
not telling myself that anymore.
Because it's, I was like, oh, interesting. Okay, cool. I think it was probably designed toward actors or something. Yeah, that was towards actors. It was like a reminder to actors. And one of the slides was also, that was an interesting, I was like, I don't know what the take, the thing was like reminder. Oh my gosh, the Ukraine president, I don't know his name, but he's Ukrainian president, is an actor, and like has an acting background, and I think it was to I don't know if you're familiar, because you're from, I don't know, you keep up with the news. I'm assuming Ukraine is at war with Russia. And I don't know if you know the Ukrainian president history. Like he played,
He didn't know he was an
he
actor. I didn't know that.
yeah, he actually had a role once where he played the president of Ukraine,
No
and then
way.
he became the president of Ukraine
I
in real life.
did not know that.
Yeah.
Wow. That is very
And
interesting.
now he's running the country while it's at war, and he's doing an awesome job.
Yeah.
So it's like, and I think that's just a, I don't know what the message is to actors to be told that. It's like, hey,
Probably just
remember, don't worry, the Ukrainian president is an actor. And it's like, okay, I can do great things too. But it's outside of acting. Like, either way, I was kind of like,
Mhm.
that's a weird message.
I mean,
But
it is a kind of a weird message, but it is good to know. Like, you stay grounded, you know? It's because I think when you maybe get those hopes real high, the harder you come crashing down. So maybe a more even keeled level. Don't tell yourself this year's the year. If it is, it is, but don't
yeah,
bank on it. Don't like set your hopes and dreams on it, but work towards it.
yeah. Expectations.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I I don't know. We'll see what happens this year.
Yeah, how are you feeling? That's cool that you have your movie.
So,
And
yeah.
what is happening with your other movie? What happened?
Which one?
The one I watched.
It's What's on the Inside.
Yes.
My first feature
Yes.
film.
Yes.
It's streaming now on Vudu and
Yes.
Amazon Prime Video.
Yes, it is.
Maybe Tubi. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
it
don't know where
is.
it's at.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Yeah. Okay, wanted to get that in there.
I don't know what's the because you watched it.
Yeah.
Nice. I think maybe you told me you watched it. I don't remember. I don't. Nothing's happening. It's out,
Yeah.
and I've moved on.
Yeah. So so what's happening with this new one?
It's submitted to festivals,
Mm-hmm.
and I know it was a quick story on that. I don't because you probably don't know much about it.
Mm-mm.
We shot that. We did 18 days
Nice.
in small village town, Chama, New Mexico, northern part of New Mexico, town I grew up in as a kid.
Oh.
So I went back to my roots. A lot of family connections there, and and it was like post vaccine, so got a little ragtag group together, and I was like, dudes, let's make a movie. Let's do it.
I love
I
it.
got my fire relit, and we
Yes.
need to make something. And it was like February, and it's like, let's make something in May. Everybody set aside your May. We're making a movie. No, I don't have a script. We'll figure it out. I have the town. I have a place for us to stay. I have a location for us to shoot, and I have lots of connections to the whole town.
Love it. Okay.
So let's just go out there, and if we just put it on the calendar, I can figure out a story. And I got a co-writer. We busted it out. So it was essentially like a volunteer-based group, just of awesome people that I like to work with. Went out and made a thing.
Cool.
But it was still like, yeah, I had the first feature under my belt, so this was like kind of more leaning towards the comedy stuff, and he threw little horror elements in there and kind of did a little mashup and stuff. But it was still very limited on on our thing. At least we had access to lots of cool locations, and
Yeah.
we were able to like give good production value with that. Some really beautiful landscapes. That
I
was so
love
pretty,
it.
so pretty.
Cool.
So the intention with that was like, all right, we're all investing this time. Let's do all the best we can, and I've never submitted to festivals before, so I was like, let's make this for the fest. We're actually
Yes.
trying. Let's do it.
Yes.
And yeah, so we got our everybody, we got our no's from the big boys. We got the no from Sundance, and then we got the no from South by Southwest, and then
That's
now
okay.
those are it's hard to compete with $1 million projects.
No, but
Either way, the chances are minuscule anyway. But it was like it would have felt like a miracle lottery win if it got into one of those. So then we're just waiting on the next round. Is like, all right, in April we'll hear from what the Tribecas and the PIF and the SIF, Seattle, Pasadena. We'll see what happens. But
Yeah.
it's a little
Cool.
exploration phase there. That's a thing. And then that's been a couple we shot that 2021 summer. So now I'm getting to the point when I'm gearing up. I'm writing got that same co-writer that with that one. And it's like, what can we what can we pump out if we give ourselves more than 2 months to write a script?
Sure.
Let's try to.
What would that look like?
Yeah, can we do better? Do you think if we had more time? So that's what we're doing now.
Cool. You have
Yeah.
ideas? You're currently writing something, or you're just still in the idea phase?
We're breaking the story, so yeah. I could. Yeah, there's some things.
Yeah, that's
There's some
great. I
things.
will patiently wait for it.
Yeah, after we cut here, I'm happy to tell you.
Okay.
So there's that writing the script, maybe playing with, all right, what connections do I have now, and all the same stuff. It's like, who do I have to get back in touch with, and what can I get rolling now into the what's the next feature? What can I get?
Yeah.
What can I get rolling?
Love it.
And then-
Cool. Congratulations.
thank you.
That's
Okay,
very
great.
exciting.
All right. Well, I think that's the time. Yeah, we're at time.
Okay. Thanks for having me.
Yes, thanks for.
This was fun.
Yeah, it's finally lovely to catch up and hang and chat stuff.
Yeah.
For those that want to follow and keep up with all things Emily Sweet, where should people do that?
I'm on Twitter and Instagram. It's the same handle at It's Emily Sweet. ITS. EMILISWET. People are like, oh, Emily Sweet. I go, no, it's Emily Sweet. Yeah, Emily Sweet. I go, no, it's Emily Sweet. They're like, oh, it's Emily Sweet. Yes, it's Emily Sweet. And then I actually started, I just launched this past month a creepy candle company. Yes, called The Black Wax. And that's at The Black Wax Company, or www.theblackwax.net if you want spooky, creepy candles.
Copy.
Yeah.
Sweet. Night. I'll make sure I put links in. What do they say on podcasts? I don't know. Links in description down below. Is that what they say?
Sure.
All right. Well, we'll have links to all that. Lovely. Very cool.
Thanks.
I think that's the show.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Bye, everybody.